Hey people, time to do another different video, and this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while. If you have been around YouTube searching how arguments and debates should and should not work, you may have come across some videos talking about how not to accuse people of logical fallacies. There are some interesting videos that I recommend people watch. However, I am a bit unsatisfied that there are not that many videos talking about how people falsely accuse others of logical fallacies. Plus, I have also seen people in videos and in comment sections having no proper knowledge about the fundamentals of how fallacies work. So that is why I am making this video, to expand on this topic. To start, what is a fallacy? If we looked at the dictionary definition, it would read things like a misleading or false belief, or an unsound argument. Another definition would be a misconception resulting from flaw in reasoning, or a trick or illusion in thoughts that often succeeds in obfuscating facts or truth. But what if someone falsely represented someone of committing a fallacy? Well, let's go over some examples. First, I will go over the Appeal-To-Popularity Fallacy, also known as argument ad populum or the bandwagon fallacy. First, the definition. This type of argumentation is when someone argues that something is right because a lot of people or a higher percentage of people are also agreeing with it. Here is a way someone can falsely label someone of committing the appeal-to-popularity fallacy. Let's say a teacher is giving a math question to a bunch of students. Let's say the teacher says, "What is 5 times 5? One of the students, which we will call Timmy, who is a self-proclaimed intellectual, responds and says an incorrect answer, like 55. Then the other students in the classroom start disagreeing with him. However, Timmy, instead of retracting his statement or admitting that he's wrong, rather he starts arguing with the other students. The teacher then intervenes and says to Timmy, "The reason why the whole class disagrees with you is because you are wrong." Another way she could say this is, "You are wrong, that is why the whole class disagrees with you," which both are equal and correct statements. However, instead of accepting the teacher's statement, Timmy instead makes an arrogant response against the teacher by saying, "Durr, that's an appeal-to-popularity fallacy, durr!" Timmy accuses the teacher of committing the fallacy, and his claim against the teacher is 100% false. In fact, when the teacher said, "Most disagree with you because you are wrong," the teacher did not commit the appeal-to-popularity fallacy. This is how some people falsely identify a statement as an appeal-to-popularity fallacy. They believe that if a statement mentioning that a majority of people are agreeing/disagreeing or preferring a certain thing, they think that is the only requirement to commit the fallacy, which is false, and this is how uneducated people and pseudo-intellectuals misinterpret the fundamentals of fallacies like this one. In order for someone to truly commit a logical fallacy, they need multiple requirements in that person's statement. However, people like Timmy in this example believe that committing a fallacy needs only one requirement, and it is the focused requirement that the fallacy name is based on. And this is a way people can falsely claim others of committing a logical fallacy. Let me show you the difference between what is and what is not an appeal-to-popularity fallacy. I'm going to show two pairs of phrases that appear similar, but ultimately they are not the same. The reason why you are wrong is because most people disagree with you. Most people disagree with you, that is why you are wrong. These examples are committing the appeal-to-popularity fallacy. The reason why most people disagree with you is because you are wrong. You are wrong, that is why most people disagree with you. These statements are not committing the appeal-to-popularity fallacy. The difference is the reasoning part of the statement. The appeal-to-popularity fallacy is not committed unless if the statement has the claim why something is right or wrong is saying that it is because if most people are agreeing or disagreeing with it. Here are some other examples of how to incorrectly label the appeal-to-popularity fallacy. A guy labels a frequently active group that treat their preaching of a topic in a franchise as gospel, which is what fanboys do, to which the guy calls the fanboys cultic. Then an angry fanboy comes out and says, "You are committing the worst toxicity. You are saying that we are like ISIS or KKK by calling us that," which is false. To which the guy responds with, "No one is going to believe that. That is according to your beliefs alone." But then the fanboy responds with, "That's an appeal-to-popularity fallacy." That is the second false statement in a row by the fanboy, because the word cultic is not even close to calling something a terrorist hate group like ISIS or KKK.
When you think about it, there are a lot of shocking parallels between fanboys and cultists.
This is a cult. This is an official textbook definition of occult people.
And also, the guy is not using the appeal-to-popularity fallacy, because the guy did not say that was the reason why the fanboy is wrong. Another example, a coach shows 3 different movies for his team to watch. 80% of the team prefer Spider-Man Into Multiverse, while 10% want Harry Potter, and the other 10% want to watch Toy Story 2. Since most of the team picked the Spider-Man movie, the coach came to the conclusion to set it as the movie to watch. Then a third party comes out and says, "Durr, that's an appeal-to-popularity fallacy, durr." Again, calling it a fallacy is false because a preference from a majority of people is not a fallacy. Because if a group is not making an argument or a point with their preference, then it is hence not possible of making a fallacy of any kind. Okay, now on to another fallacy that people like to mislabel or use inappropriately. The second fallacy I will go over is the shotgun fallacy. Other names for this fallacy are the argument/proof by verbosity, and most commonly known as Gish Gallop, which is a more evolved term along with a more evolved definition. The Gish Gallop, aka shotgun fallacy's definition, is when one chooses so many vague arguments, firing many shots as it were, in order to disable your opponent from answering them all, or to make it impossible to answer them all, with the person firing those arguments having no regard for their accuracy, validity, or relevance. However, people can falsely accuse others of this fallacy if that person is giving not flawed arguments, but factually true statements, or a list of rules. For example, let's say a person lies. Let's say it's a flat earther or an anti-vaxxer or something. And then you respond by telling them 3 or 4 different relevant factual reasons why that person is wrong, or a step-by-step true response why that person is wrong. But then the clown just ignores your statement and just responds with saying, "Durr, that is a shotgun fallacy, durr." The clown labels your list of true facts as a shotgun fallacy, aka Gish Gallop. That is false, and not how the shotgun fallacy/Gish Gallop is rendered. They think because something is a list that they don't like, they think that automatically qualifies it as a Gish Gallop, aka shotgun fallacy, when that is false, because being a list is not the only requirement. It makes as much sense as calling a to-do list a shotgun fallacy, or labeling a list of rules, or a lengthy criminal record with proof for each count as a Gish Gallop. In order for something to be a Gish Gallop, it has to not only be a list, but have multiple invalid, flawed arguments in which some, most, or all can be refuted. However, it does not apply to a list of irrefutable facts. Basically, if you are giving more than one irrefutable fact, people that label it as a shotgun fallacy/Gish Gallop, it is nothing more than a pseudo-intellectual way of saying, "Too long didn't read, so you are wrong," which saying TLDR in any way, shape, or form is a lazy rebuttal. Even if simply being a list was the only requirement, then the person labeling your list of true relevant facts as a Gish Gallop is committing the fallacy, which sounds redundant, and it is getting ridiculous. Now the third and final fallacy I will cover for this video that some people like to mislabel against others is the false equivalency. This fallacy is defined as which an equivalency is drawn in between two subjects based on flawed or false reasoning. It is when someone incorrectly asserts that two or more things are the same because they share a few characteristics, despite the fact that there are notable differences. However, some people can falsely label something as a false equivalency if it was used to describe someone making true comparisons, ones that have little to no differences at all, or by bringing up a difference that is completely irrelevant. Before I go over the example, I need to mention a specific and rather infamous individual. Are you people familiar with Butch Hartman, the director of many popular cartoons who then turned out to be notorious by taking credit of other artists and being a plagiarist by getting paid by fans only for him to steal other people's artwork? Not only that, the art style we see in his shows, guess what? He also did not invent that art style. The real genius behind the art style is Steven Silver, so even Butch is taking credit from him. So I will be using Butch for this example. Alright, let's say we have a guy named Trey. He is a known hobbyist artist and someone wants fan art of a character. Let's say Goku, and they request Trey to do the fan art. Or let's also say Trey makes the fan art on his own will and uploads it. But then you do a little research and find out that Trey's fan art is actually a traced image of someone else's art or from source material. You then confront Trey and call him out for tracing artwork and taking credit off of it, which you then say to him, "Hey, You are plagiarizing artwork. That is one of the same crimes as Butch Hartman. Trey, however, instead of confessing, he attempts to defend himself by labeling your response by saying, "That's a false equivalency!" Trey then gives a reason to try to back his false equivalency claim by saying, "Because Butch is famous and I'm not, and he made money off of it." You people should know how to counter a statement like this. Trey's false equivalency claim is a 100% blatant and obvious lie, and his famous reasoning is 100% irrelevant to the point you are giving him. The main point of your statement is, plagiarism is plagiarism, stealing art is stealing art. Whether the plagiarist has a large following or a small following, Trey is a plagiarist and Butch is a plagiarist. Both of them committed the same sin. The statement you made to Trey, referring to the type of offense he committed being the same as Butch Hartman's offense, your statement is 100% true. Both are tracing artwork and are trying to take credit for it. There is no false equivalency on your side. Sometimes people will accuse others of a false equivalency without explaining it. Now for a bonus, let's go over another term that fake intellectuals may also use. Are you familiar with the term syllogism? As you can read here, it's a three-part argument based on deductive reasoning in which two premises are combined to have a conclusion. However, there are some possible ways syllogisms can be false, and some people refuse to believe that. Some people claim any syllogism by itself is valid. Anyone who has actually studied syllogisms would know that this is a false statement. Because if it was true, then there would not be different types of flawed/fallacious syllogisms, and I will go over them listed on this website. The four-termed fallacy, the undistributed middle, which is one of the most common, the illicit minor and illicit major, exclusive premises, affirmative conclusions from a negative premise, and existential fallacies. So those are some ways people misuse complex terms such as falsely claiming fallacies against people. Individuals that casually and frequently spout big words in fallacy names are basically pseudo-intellectual tryhards using those words to desperately try to sound smart to appear correct, when ultimately it makes them look worse. There are definitely other types of fallacies that people falsely accuse other people of committing. I recommend you watch this other video by Professor Dave Explains talking about this specific topic. Link is in the description. I will also include another video with a related topic. It is a video about pseudo-intellectuals, which will also be linked in the description. Let me know what you think about my examples, and let me know about other ways people falsely mislabel logical fallacies against others by making posts in the comments or responses. That is it for this video. To all you good people out there, study things before using them, and when you know how complex words function, they are not to be used frequently. That's thinking realistically.